Hey guys, welcome to another video. So my original intention for this video, given that we are approaching Christmas and New Year, was to just publish. I was going through some of my old MuseScore compositions and I stumbled across an arrangement I'd made of Auld Lang Syne, originally created in MuseScore 2. I set about updating it for MuseScore 3, which at the time of recording the video you're about to see was the version 3.4. Noticing that 3.6 was installed on my laptop, I saw the massive difference in how it looked on the page. Turns out that there was although it was a minor increase, 3.5 to 3.6, the MuseScore team had made some major changes in the way that your score is presented. So when you create a new score, your instrumentation is grouped according to instrument and according to convention. So orchestras, the instruments would be bracketed and grouped accordingly. Whereas what you're about to see, you will notice that the instruments are in the order that I added them to the score. There is no grouping because I haven't added any grouping. At the time I was learning, I could read sheet music, I was learning how to compose or write sheet music. And conventions that you may not be used to, it turns out MuseScore does it for you. So my original intention was to just publish my score and let you hear what it sounds like in MuseScore, which obviously isn't going to be how it would sound played by a real orchestra. So my arrangement is a piano with a string section, violins, violas, double bass, and a brass section consisting of French horns and tuba. I just love the way the French horn sounds, and Auld Lang Syne is a song everybody knows, but I just think the harmonies I've made with the French horn, just so simple, it just sounds so beautiful. And it turns out MuseScore 4 adds realistic instrumentation. So after you've heard how it sounds in MuseScore 3.4, you will then see the difference of how the score looks in MuseScore 3.6. Okay, it's MuseScore 4, but visually there's no changes between that major upgrade. 3.6 was where that big change came. And what a change. The fonts, they've moved from a new... well, I'll explain it when we get there. So without further ado, here's Auld Lang Syne in MuseScore 3. Please keep listening because it just sounds... MuseScore 4, it blew me away, so hopefully it blows you away too. Beautiful. Let's go. So I'll just read the notes that I've made here on Auld Lang Syne, written in Old Scots originally by Scotland's national poet, Rabbie Burns. Old Scots is a language. It's not English spoken with a funny accent, as some people, myself included at one time, believe. Derived from the same Germanic parent languages as modern English, Scots is not simply English in an accent. When Scottish people write words such as fey, which English from, it's actually a word. It's not them phonetically transcribing as they speak. Just as modern English derives from Old English, which derives from the Germanic languages brought to these isles by immigrants of old, Old Scots derives from the same source or sources, in a land where the mode of transport was either by foot or by horseback, and many days could be spent travelling from Land's End on the south coast in Cornwall to John O'Groats in the far north of Scotland. Many years of separation, compounded by the building of physical barriers such as Hadrian's Wall, result in a marked difference in what was once the same language, the same group, one tribe of people, be they Norse, Angle, Dane, settle in various parts in pockets of these fair isles, and as the centuries pass between them, their shared dialect transforms into new languages, not so vast as to be unintelligible. We can still understand Scots to the point that we just believe they're speaking in a funny accent. English, no, it's its own language. A good comparison is the Celtic languages, so Irish and Gaelic. The spoken word sounds familiar to speakers of both languages, though the spelling and the alphabets may be very different. And Cyrillic languages written in a Latin is similar. It looks very different. Spoken, it's the same or similar. Whereas Welsh, which is in the same family of Celtic languages as Irish and Gaelic, it's only loosely connected, and there is not much similarity in the spoken word. So in the family of language, Scots and English are brothers. It's only within the erudite walls of English public school system and the class structure that comes with it that Scots gets a reputation as being some unintelligent tongue, a bastard half-breed dialect of English spoken only by the great unwashed common people north of Carlisle. And I go to great lengths to stress this, probably in part through my own guilt at having once thought the same. I've spent many years living in Glasgow, but you only have to read a piece of Rabbie's work to have the beauty of Scots revealed to you. And okay, this is an English translation that I've written down for the lyrics, but Auld Lang Syne, 1788, we still sing it now in the 21st century. We'll tack a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne, for the sake of times past. Let's get on to MuseScore 4. So here we are in the MuseHub app, and I'm currently downloading the free, what they describe as realistic sounds for MuseScore 4. As I mentioned in my introduction, originally my intention for this video was to just publish my score that I'd written several years ago. It's approaching Christmas and New Year, so just my arrangement of Auld Lang Syne is appropriate for this time of year, and I just wanted to publish the score and put a bit of content on my channel. And as I was updating the score, because I originally wrote the arrangement in MuseScore 2, and since then MuseScore 3 has come out, my laptop was running 3.6, and I noticed that on the PC it was only 3.4. And when I loaded the score in the laptop, there were some only aesthetic, but actually quite striking changes. When MuseScore moved from 3.5 to 3.6, they added in the Edwin font, which is, I think it's a derivative of New Century and used by a lot of publishers. And actually, the text on the page looked so much better. They were originally using a Times New Roman clone. I think it was free serif. And it looked so much better. And the music fonts as well, they just, on the score, it just looks nicer. But the biggest change in moving to 3.6, as you will be able to see in the first part of this video, you've just seen a score that the instruments are on the stave in the order I added them. In 3.6, they added in the default groupings for instruments based on the convention that you're writing for. So the instrumentation I've got on the page, it's not full orchestra, but it's an orchestral set of instruments. So we go into the instruments in my score, and as you will see when we load MuseScore 4, the instruments are grouped according to orchestral convention. Looks so much professional. And when you're opening a new score, you don't need to do anything. The software does it for you. Previously, you would have had to, yes, the software will group instruments, but you would have to do it yourself. So if you're a novice at composition, I'm not, but when I wrote this score, I was, and didn't realise that I should bracket those instruments. Later scores I've published, I have done that myself. It's time consuming. When the software does it for you, you don't even need to know that that's what you're supposed to do. It does it for you. And it looks so much better, so much more professional. And when I load up MuseScore 4, it's currently downloading these realistic sounds. And this is what I want to demonstrate, is the difference, not just in visual quality of how the score looks on the page, but also how it sounds when you play it back. It's great that MuseScore allows you to play your score, and you can export it in MIDI and load it up in your favourite sequencer, be that Apple Logic or Cakewalk or whatever, Pro Tools, whatever you use. You can load your MIDI and bang, you've got your realistic instrumentation. Wouldn't it be great if MuseScore could use those same freely available open source sounds? I mean, come on, there's 31 gigs in Apple Loops library, and some of those sound amazing. So if they're free, then there's no reason MuseScore can't have realistic instrumentation. And they have in MuseScore 4. So without further ado, I'm going to pause this now and get back to the video once the download is complete. So hey guys, here we are in MuseScore 4. Now, as I mentioned, from version 3.6 onwards, when you create a new score in the software, the instruments you add arranged for you, grouped, and we can see here that they are indeed grouped. However, I've had to do that myself. So if you press I, I'll just show you briefly. It was on the custom setting and the instruments were in the order I'd added them. So I've chosen to group them by orchestral, and we can see there they are indeed all nicely grouped. It just looks so much better, and it's done it for me. I have the mixer open up because the other thing I've had to do, I've downloaded the realistic sounds. I haven't listened yet, but they were all MS Basic, which is the MuseScore Basic. So I've had to, when you create a new score in MuseScore 4, because 4 is where the realistic sounds are. If you've downloaded the sounds, they will automatically be assigned when you add an instrument. However, when you open and import from MuseScore 3 or 2, you may have to do this manually, and indeed that's what I've had to do. So horns, I've chosen the Muse sound, brass, F, tuba, etc. Now, the reason why I've opened up the mixer is I'm going to play this score twice, because for the strings, if we look at my score, I have violin 1, violin 2, viola, violoncello, and double bass or the contrabass. They're singular, so I'm now casting my mind back to 2017. Did I intend for a small performance? Well, yes, I did. So my intention here is there is one violin and a second, first chair, second chair, viola, violoncello. I don't envisage a group. So in strings here, we've got violins 1 and 2, which suggests a first chair, second chair group of violins 1 and 2. And we have a solo. Same for viola, a solo instrument and a grouped, and a solo cello and a group of cellos. So we're going to play this twice, and I'm going to change the instrumentation. As you can see, the rest, I haven't touched the mixer. In a real orchestra, you're going to obviously have some instruments to the left, some to the right, the room, reverb, everything's going to be affected. This is as I had set it when I first did this arrangement. I haven't touched anything else. You can see some of the reverbs do have stuff assigned to them. I can't remember if I did that myself. Probably did, just to make it sound better, because in MuseScore 3, as you heard, it's not exactly realistic. So here we go. Let's close this mixer and play. I hope you enjoy. Wow. Just when that horn line kicks in and the first and second repeats. Oh, beautiful. So let's go in and change the strings to solos, and we'll see how that sounds. Why is that frozen? What's happened? Violin 2 solo. We want a solo violoncello. And why won't this viola load? Muse sounds. Viola solo. Oh, that's going to be stuck on the screen. That's going to be annoying. Oh, well, I'll pause the video and reload. Hang on. So we are back after having to totally reinstall MuseScore 4. So there is a bug. GitHub seems to have reported it in January 2023, and it's allegedly fixed, where the software freezes on the splash screen. Well, I can verify that bug has not been fixed. The one that was reported was fixed, but there is another reason for MuseScore crashing and hanging on the splash screen, and no amount of clearing out your app data for MuseScore 4 will fix it. Just a quick look at the logs. My background is in software development. Just a quick look at the logs. I don't know if somebody wants to raise a bug. It's with one of the implicit widths in the Qt. Qt is a way of drawing user interfaces, and the error that's being reported is unable to establish a fixed implicit width on some Qt object that causes an infinite loop, and the splash screen never moves to the user interface. So whatever caused that error, reinstalling fixes it. So we're back. We can verify that we have violin 1 solo, violin 2 solo, viola solo. That was where that horrible menu artifact appeared. I'm not going to click it again just in case, just for the purpose of this video. So we have the solo instrument selected. Let's hear the piece. Wow. I don't know which you prefer. Certainly I prefer MuseScore 4. There's a smile on my face that's from one ear to the other. I'm blown away. The swell of that, the French horn and the tuba when it. No wonder I've got my one eye on the volume meter just to make sure it doesn't clip into 0 dB, and no wonder I've got MF in that section, because that as it swells, that just it just sounds so wonderful. And I didn't compose the piece of music. I've done an arrangement. It's no wonder this piece is played year after year. It does bring a tear to your eye. Let me know in the comments which you prefer of the MuseScore 4 sound, whether it's the solo or the first run through where we had the groups of the instruments. I think the melody line is a lot clearer on the second play when we have a solo violin, because the melody is on the piano and the violin, and you hear the melody much better, I think, with the solo violin. But I'm now wondering what it would sound like with a mixture of keeping violin 1 as solo, but violin 2 where it's just chords as a group. The viola has got a melody on it as well, whereas the cello and the bass are just picking out keynotes for chord changes. I think either way, it just sounds amazing. Let me know in the comments. Please, if you like this video, do hit like and subscribe to my channel if you want to hear more things like this, as well as my other content. Until the next video, stay safe, stay frosty. It's cold outside. And if you're watching this over the holiday period, happy holidays. Let's hope the new year is much better than what we've had. Stay safe.
I don't know that one.
Do you, Alexa? Well, shut up. Bye.